geography of China is very diverse, so people living in different areas enjoy different staple foods. Staple foods not only provide calories, they also have a great impact on people's feelings towards the seasons, and they enable them to have a happy, healthy, and interesting life. In China, tastes in staple foods vary from south to north. The women of Ding village, Shanxi province, are the best at making bread and pasta. After grain has been ground to powder, it is of course known as flour. In China, grain processing has a history of over 10,000 years. The oldest millstone discovered in China so far was unearthed near here. And interestingly, the shape of millstones hasn't changed much from that time. Millstones grind grain into flour, after which it is screened to remove particulate impurities. Shanxi has many mountains but few rivers. As only a few vegetables can be grown there, limiting the supply of vegetables in the market, locals have created more dishes made with flour. One type of flour may appear in several tantalizing forms on the same table. These flour-based dishes demonstrate the wisdom, imagination, and hard-working spirit of the local women. While the women in Ding village, Shanxi province are working on their flour-steamed buns for a birthday celebration, inside a cave-dwelling in Shanxi, the smell of a different style of steamed buns fills the air. Mr. Huang from Suide has made these golden yellow steamed buns with millet flour, and they taste and smell marvelous. Beginning in the 11th month of the lunar calendar, every 3 days Mr. Huang sells his steamed buns in the county seat, which is an hour and a half away. Suide is in a hilly area of northern Shanxi, where wheat and other types of grain are the staple foods.
山巅的黄嬷嬷，黄嬷嬷，我看见狗的，睡得在地面，哎，我的最好吃，黄嬷嬷，一块，一块，没把大，哎呀，我黄嬷都7、8年了，基本上看一下买10块少1块，你这都5毛钱，可好吃了，上个就完了，上个就完了。这我当然就是人家的没办法。
Swaiter grows a lot of millet, the main ingredient in steamed yellow buns. It is, in fact, the major crop in the area because it's drought resistant. People began to grow it here over 8,000 years ago. Millet's not particularly tasty when it's cooked like rice, but in the past it was the main staple food. There is soft millet and hard millet, which Juan mixes in a ratio of 7:3. Before cooking, he soaks the millet overnight and strains it with a fine sieve. Juan prefers flour ground by hand with his own millstone rather than machine-made flour. Millet gives off a pleasant, natural aroma when fried, and this is the secret of Juan's buns. The millet dough is left in vats overnight to ferment after kneading. Juan has also found that covering the vats with a quilt works even better. Juan lives in a cave dwelling, a practice with a history of some 4,000 years in this area. The most basic wish for a male resident here is to build a multi-room cave dwelling, find a wife, and start a family. Juan and his wife make 700 buns in each batch. From raw millet to finished product, it takes 3 days. They begin each day at 3 a.m. and finish at 9 p.m.
小苦就赚了钱，不干闲着懒的人没人给他钱。9、10、11、12、13、14、15。
Mr. Huang is a very honest man. He sells his buns for just 1 yuan each, no less, no more.
一饼20块钱。你咋了？不是呀，一毛干老子呀，可难做的，这呀，哎呀，裙子呢，在这两天小苦气儿，哎，要不是说就黄不不。
During the 2 coldest months of the year, one can sell as many as 15,000 buns. And this earns him a net profit of around 8,000 yuan. Both his son and daughter moved to the city, and they have thus lost contact with the soil. Wang, however, hates the thought of leaving his cave dwelling and the grain he grows. He loves his self-sufficient life. Millions of Chinese have lived this way for thousands of years, eating the grain they have grown themselves. Hard-working farmers like Wang made this possible. In the vast area of northern China, it's harvest time. The ripe wheat has turned the fields yellow. Over the past 4,000 years, wheat has become the most popular crop in China's north. This exceptional grain, which originated in West Asia, has become the most important staple food for Chinese people. After the dough has risen, it's baked in a special fire pit. Because of the low moisture content, it stores well for a long time. Every Uyghur family has this custom. People in Kucha County, Xinjiang, celebrate the Islamic Korban festival with a feast. Naan, which resembles a pizza without a filling, is a Uyghur favorite. The name came from the ancient Persian language over 2,000 years ago. Steamed buns have gone by a variety of names in the past. They have long been a favorite in China's Central Plain. China was, in fact, the world's first nation to cook with steam. Chinese people often say there are 5 grains, but this concept has changed over time. About 2,000 years ago, they were rice, millet, glutinous millet, wheat, and beans. Today, rice, wheat, and corn are the most popular, but it's rice that always tops the list. People of the Dung ethnic group live in Dimen village. Dimen means source of the water, and it is usually overcast or rainy in Dimen village, which is located by the source of the Qingshui River. Wu Shunyu, a villager, is taking rice from his silo. Silos play a crucial role in damp locations like this. The wooden silos with tile roofs stand on stilts above the water. They protect the grain against fire, rats, and moths. The oldest local silo is 300 years old. The rice in Wu's silo has not been hulled to keep it fresh longer. He's taking this rice to give to another family at the end of the village. When a baby is 1 month old, the mother receives visitors from her extended family who bring gifts. Other women in the clan send newly harvested rice and eggs as a token of best wishes for a newborn. Rice flour noodles, a local favourite, are available in every market. Locals never seem to tire of fine rice noodles in spicy meat soup. Young Xiaoxia first grinds recently harvested rice to make rice slurry. The rice slurry is then placed over boiling water. The cooled and solidified rice slurry can then be stored. This is a typical rice noodle producer in southern China. The steaming white rice noodles give off a pleasant aroma that only comes from rice that has been recently harvested. Young Xiaoxia and her husband work well together. They have, after all, done this many times before. Rice is the staple food for over 65% of the Chinese population. Rice is sowed in the spring, weeded in summer, harvested in autumn, and stored in winter. China has the world's longest history of rice cultivation. In fact, people in the Yangtze River Basin began growing rice over 7,000 years ago. There are many ways to cook and use rice, and each area of the country has its own methods. Meanwhile, in Guangzhou, people are very fond of a similar type of rice noodles, commonly known as shahe rice noodles. These noodles, however, are thinner, more transparent, more tender, and chewier. The most popular way to use shahe noodles locally is called stir-fried rice noodles with beef. Making this dish is a basic skill in Guangdong-style cuisine. It is prepared by quickly frying over a high-temperature fire while not breaking the noodles. People from the north also enjoy these rice noodles, although they prefer wheat noodles. People in the south prefer rice, but people in the north prefer wheat-based foods. This situation has existed for over 1,000 years, and it's due to the different regional agricultural conditions. This Xi'an restaurant, far from Guangzhou, is always crowded. But the frank and direct locals feel that the buns with meat stuffing here are worth the wait. Xi'an people love buns with shredded pork, made with their own local type of bun. This food is a wonderful marriage between the special buns and juicy shredded pork. The buns, which on the outside resemble English muffins, are baked for a long time with low heat until they become very hard. The meat, which is flavoured with 30 or more ingredients, is soft, tender and tantalising. The plain taste of the bun goes well with the distinctive flavours of the meat. Cao Shi, a Xi'an native and university lecturer, has formed a band that sings in the Xi'an dialect. He writes the lyrics and sings in the band. In this rap song, he lists many popular local dishes. Xi'an was once the world's most thriving city. It served as the capital for no less than 13 dynasties. People from around the world have settled here, bringing their native cuisines with them. Even today, Xi'an is a paradise for staple food. Hard buns broken into small pieces, dropped in mutton soup, is a local specialty. The size of the pieces depends on your taste. Breaking the bun into pieces is part of the enjoyment of this dish. Another equally famous Lanzhou dish is pulled noodles with soup, which is also a perfect combination of a staple food and soup. People in Lanzhou begin their day with a bowl of beef and noodles. There are over 1,000 Muslim restaurants in the city serving millions of bowls of beef and noodles every single day. To be authentic, Lanzhou pulled noodles must be soft and chewy. When Ma Baozi of the Hui ethnic group poured ox and sheep liver soup into his pot to cook noodles over 100 years ago, a truly unique aroma was created, and the dish quickly became popular. Even today, the clarity of the soup used to make this beef and noodle dish is still a criterion for its authenticity. The most authentic version is made in a clear soup with daikon, red chili oil, parsley, and yellow noodles. Ma Baozi found that by soaking a certain wild plant in water and using it to make the dough, the elasticity was increased. Everything is done by hand. Ma Wenbin, who has worked in this restaurant 40 years, is the fourth generation of his family to do so. It takes great skill and strength control to make noodles of different shapes and thickness. The same wheat flour can make many different kinds of noodles, and each kind has its own character. People in the south and north have different tastes in noodles. People in Guangzhou prefer thin noodles that taste entirely different from Lanzhou pulled noodles. Even though Guangdong has 2 or 3 rice growing seasons a year, the people of Guangdong still love noodles. This kind of dough is made with duck eggs, and it's kneaded in the traditional way. The strength of the kneading is crucial. People use a bamboo roller to roll out the dough using their full body weight to ensure uniformity. When the dough is thin enough, it is formed into wonton skins or noodles. Noodles made this way are very chewy. The noodles will go with soup boiled for at least 3 hours with pork bones, fish and shrimp roe to make a favourite food of the people of this region. The people of Guangzhou call this traditional type of noodle bamboo rolled noodles. This method of making noodles has been passed down for many generations. People living in the Central Plain use a rolling pin rather than a bamboo roller. Rolling out dough with a rolling pin to make noodles is an essential skill for every girl on the Central Plain. The people of Ding village celebrate birthdays and entertain guests by serving noodles for breakfast and a feast for lunch. Mrs. Wei prepared the noodles for her husband's 70th birthday dinner well ahead of time. Chinese people call noodles eaten at a birthday party longevity noodles. The noodles are long and thin, and this sounds like long life in Chinese. As Chinese people are very fond of such word games, this is probably how the custom of eating noodles at a birthday party originated. Everyone in Ding village participates in the ceremony. Before people begin eating, each person picks out a noodle from his or her bowl and places it in Mr. Wei's bowl. Mr. Wei must eat these noodles in order for the party to be considered a real success. Whenever an elderly person has a birthday, the local people gather together to celebrate. They also often invite a local theatre troupe to perform. At such events, hot and spicy noodle soup is essential for performers and audience alike. Noodles are especially indispensable at an event known as the Endless Banquet. It begins at daybreak. According to the local history books, the custom of having hot and spicy noodle soup in Qishan began about 3,000 years ago. But only the noodles are eaten. The noodles are eaten with seasoned fried pork slices, but making this Qishan dish is a painstaking process. The meat is sliced thinly and uniformly, then fried until it becomes translucent. The final step is cooking the pork slices with vinegar and chili powder over a slow fire. This turns the meat red and gives it a pleasant sour and spicy taste. The bright red sauce is spicy, but not too spicy. This is the secret to the dish. The ingredients accompanying the noodles are carefully chosen for colour and significance. The black fungus is of course black, while the tofu is a contrasting white. The eggs represent prosperity, the red radish a full life, and the garlic vitality. This dish represents the Qishan people's wishes for a good life. Qishan noodles have been a favourite for thousands of years, and they have developed into a work of art. Qishan noodles are both a staple food and a side dish, and there are many such dishes in Chinese cuisine. To the people of Jiaxing, Zhejiang, a good way to start the day begins with glutinous rice and meat wrapped in a leaf. This is known as a Zongzi. Jiaxing City on Lake Tai is a major grain producer. Thanks to automated production and the fast pace of life, seasonal foods are now available all year round. The Dragon Boat Festival marks the day the ancient poet Qu Yuan drowned himself 2,300 years ago. All the families in southern China are busy making Zongzi for this day. From Sichuan works wrapping glutinous rice in leaves. He prepares about 3,000 Zongzi a day, taking less than 10 seconds for each one. This is a highly standardized operation requiring 36 steps. 1 million uniform Zongzi roll off the line a day, but they still retain some of the spirit of handmade Zongzi. These young people from different parts of the country are making Zongzi with their own hands. The arrival of the Industrial Revolution meant that production of Zongzi was no longer limited by region or season. But many people feel that making them by hand is a way of preserving part of a natural, traditional lifestyle. After the late rice is harvested, people in Ningbo begin making rice cakes. 5-year-old Ning Ning especially enjoys making New Year cakes with her great-grandmother.
多么漂亮！
昨天这些早点的这些漂亮嘛，那个出来毛来了些，啊，个出来。
Gu is the most common family name in Jingtou, a village surrounded on 3 sides by the sea. Mr. Gu is 78 this year. His family has lived here for generations. Mr. Gu's wife arrived here 50 years ago. She now has 4 children, many grandchildren, and also great-grandchildren. Making New Year cakes is a tradition for the Chinese New Year. The rice flour used in the New Year cakes in Ningbo comes from polished round grain rice harvested that year. Soaking, grinding, steaming, and smashing alter the molecules in the rice, improving the taste. Rice flour dough must be forcefully kneaded on a board before it's ready to use. Ningbo people used to make many such cakes before the Chinese New Year and then keep them in cold water to preserve them for up to a year. People then ate them in place of a regular meal when working in the fields. This saved time. Rice cakes go well with vegetables. They can serve as a staple food or a side dish. Crab meat in the New Year cakes makes them even more tempting. The Gu family is busy cooking, filling the air with tantalizing aromas. All the children have come back to Ningbo for the Chinese New Year. Some of the grandchildren now have children, so there are only a few family gatherings of 4 generations like this in a year. Mr. Gu and his wife especially enjoy these events. New Year cakes, the children's favourite, are always part of the feast. The couple has not been making the cakes often since their children left home, but when they do, they still use the traditional methods. Making New Year cakes is a serious business, and neighbours all help each other. Locals also call them get-together cakes. Grandmother is mixing the mugwort from the previous spring into the rice. Together, they turn it into a soft and sticky dough with a nice green color. The fresh New Year cakes are soft, moist, warm and sticky, and the pine pollen sprinkled on top gives them an aroma that is irresistible. When she grows up, but she will always remember their taste and the warm family atmosphere. After the brief reunion, the children return to the city, but they carry with them the cakes made by their grandparents. Chinese New Year is a day for Chinese family reunions. Bai Bo's family spent the Chinese New Year of 2012 in Beijing. Bai Bo grew up in Shanxi but settled in Beijing after graduation from college. For the coming Chinese New Year, he's brought his family to Beijing. This is the first time in 10 years that he's done this.
从小吃惯什么东西，你会一直留在你那个身体里面，觉得这东西哎一吃就是那个味儿。我觉得我妈做的最好吃的就是焖面，说不出来那种好吃。其实很简单，做法也很简单，是因为我妈妈做的，所以说我觉得它好吃。
Bai Bo's 5-year-old twin girls are named Jixiang and Rui, which mean auspicious and as you wish. Bai Bo is busy most of the year working at different filming locations. His twin girls stay with his wife in her parents' home. The twins only see their father during the Chinese New Year.
你们俩最爱吃什么？睡觉。为什么喜欢吃睡觉？
太了，我吃8个。
8个，你呢？你也是8个。那你为什么你这么胖，你这么瘦啊？为什么？
When the fillings are wrapped in the rolled-out dough wrappers, they become nice crescent moon-shaped dumplings. Dumpling in Chinese implies the change of the year. No matter what happens during the year, dumplings on New Year's Eve cannot be replaced with any other delicacy.
"因为我们从小也是受那种传统的家庭文化的教育，像我小时候，我记得吃饺子，我觉得最深刻的就是我奶奶，她总会去包饺子里头包各种花样的东西，看着饺子在锅里头煮的咕噜咕噜的那种的感觉，很热闹，象征着团圆家庭。
While many traditional foods are now made in factories, year after year, Chinese families still make dumplings by hand. Chinese place more importance on family than any other nation.
你找到了个爸爸妈妈、爷爷奶奶、姥姥姥爷包饺子，你们两个包好不好？中国人那种传统的家庭观念里面是代代相承的，他们传承给我的这种东西呢，我也会传承给我的孩子。就像这种饺子，我觉得在他们幼小的心灵里面，然后他们会埋下一个种子，无论走到哪儿，无论飞得再远，他们都会想起，他的爸爸妈妈，我们能给他们做了一些什么好的吃的，这就是中国人一辈子代代相传的一种记忆，食物的记忆。
在龙年钟声即将要敲响的时候，我们要在
Chinese New Year is the happiest time of the year for Bai Bo and his family. However, in point of fact, the food is not as important as the family reunion itself. For Chinese people, nothing trumps the family being together. This is the Chinese people, and these are their traditions. Much of Chinese culture can be seen in their simple, staple foods.